Microsoft and UC Berkeley developed an AI model that automatically interacts with various online tools using API calls, unlike other mainstream language models like ChatGPT. Not like other mainstream language data models, Gorilla can learn from online sources in real time, adapt to changes, and handle complex tasks across different platforms. So let's unveil and deep dive into Microsoft's top-secret AI, Gorilla. Microsoft's Gorilla is an AI model developed by Microsoft and UC Berkeley that can automatically interact with online tools using API calls. It can learn from online sources in real time, adapt to changes, and handle complex tasks on different platforms. Gorilla is more accurate and reliable than other mainstream language models when making API calls. It is flexible and adaptable, handling documentation changes and API updates. What else? It can explore its possibilities, understand its development for artificial intelligence in general, and decide if this is the future of AI or just fleeting hype. Gorilla is powerful and flexible, performing tasks requiring multiple API calls or inferences across different domains. The main attraction of Gorilla is that it is about to become an AGI, aka Artificial General Intelligence. Unlike other major language models, Gorilla can respond to a random request, such as, just imagine you are going on vacation in a country, for instance named Maldives. Gorilla can investigate what makes a good vacation, choosing the best seasons, prices, locations, flights, restaurants, and more online. It can then reserve them through an API call or call for help with other API tools to increase the likelihood of success. Sounds great. Suppose if it's a tool Gorilla is unfamiliar with. In that case, Gorilla will find relevant tutorials, documentation, or commands online and stay up to date and learn how to use them. It's built on the Llama Bench Data API and document retrieval system, which keeps up to date with the latest technological advancements by following the internet trends and real-time current affairs, ensuring you stay on top of innovation. So, Gorilla will enhance the existing LLM system with AGI technology. Today's LLM has outdated information and requires refresher training to stay updated with recent changes. The LLM cannot store the data for an exact answer, given the limited context and weight. Therefore, LLM is supplemented by various tools and plugins that use external APIs for better answers. Gorilla introduces self-transformation and self-monitoring training over a large pool of APIs that deliver better results than mainstream LLMs, including but not limited to ChatGPT 4 and Claude. As mentioned, Gorilla is a refined Llama 7B model on the API Bench dataset. Developers use a chat-like structure where every API call is used, similar to an actual conversation between a user and a chatbot. The Llama model was then refined in the presence and absence of the retriever. So, how functional and beneficial is Gorilla LLM? You know what? Gorilla can reduce hallucinations. Don't worry, hallucinations refers to code generated with the wrong API or the API doesn't exist. This can lead to runtime errors and non-working code. Gorilla is particularly well suited to many API calls, reducing the risk of hallucinogenic errors. Of course, improved code generation is one of its most prominent features. With more structured responses using the most up-to-date API documentation fetched at runtime, responses are better suited for code generation. When debugging generated code, this can save time and money because the feedback is reliable. The code is open source and can be accessed on GitHub. Gorilla is accessed using a command line interface through code for inference purposes. So, how does Gorilla compare to other major language models when making API calls? Gorilla is more accurate and reliable than other mainstream language models when making API calls. It has been specially trained and understands the syntax and interaction requirements more deeply. This allows Gorilla to make more accurate and efficient API calls, resulting in better performance and better results when performing tasks. So, now you may think how Gorilla can handle tasks that span different platforms and domains, right? Gorilla is designed to handle tasks that span many different platforms and domains. It can adapt to changes in documentation and API updates, allowing it to interact with various online tools and platforms. Gorilla can perform complex tasks requiring multiple API calls or inferences across different domains. This flexibility and adaptability make Gorilla a powerful and versatile AI model for various tasks. While Gorilla is an impressive AI model, it still relies on human-generated data and documents and cannot handle tasks that require creativity, emotion, or good sense. Gorilla excels at performing tasks based on existing knowledge and rules, but can struggle with quests requiring creative problem-solving, emotional understanding, or nuanced decision-making. On the other hand, AGI would require these higher-order cognitive abilities. Gorilla's education lies on existing online resources, which means it may not have access to complete or objective information, because sometimes it may grasp biased information as well. Gorilla's capabilities are limited to interacting with online tools through API calls. While it can handle many tasks in the field, it may not be able to generalize its skills to physical or real-life interactions. AGI should navigate and interact effectively with the physical world. Thus, Gorilla builds on the lessons of earlier models like the Turing NLG, but important upgrades give Gorilla an edge. Larger model size, 4 times more parameters than GPT-3, allows for enhanced contextual awareness. But Gorilla has reinforcement learning, constantly learning from conversations to develop more accurate answers, recall chat history for consistent dialogue, make logical inferences, summaries, and conclusions. It works on a factual basis and uses real-world data to have real conversations. These enhancements allow Gorilla to handle much more complex conversations than older chatbots with limited capabilities. The initial leaked recordings show that the Gorilla's conversational abilities reach the level of a human. Its understanding, reasoning, and personality greatly advance natural language AI. So, why can Gorilla beat ChatGPT and other LLMs? Specifically, Gorilla seems to outperform competitors like Claude, GPT-3, and ChatGPT in a few key areas, like speed improvement, where Gorilla produces 3 times faster responses thanks to optimized AND architecture. Faster response times improve dialogue flow. With more accurate answers based on facts and logic, Gorilla generates fewer false or meaningless answers than GPT-3. Gorilla has advanced reasoning. This complex reasoning allows Gorilla to handle complex inferences that preclude other models. While ChatGPT excels at the simpler Q&A section, Gorilla resembles a back-and-forth conversation more closely, thanks to these improvements. So, how does Gorilla's architecture allow for chat? Gorilla was trained using a technique called self-refining on a machine learning API dataset called API Bench. The researchers formatted the data into chat-like conversations optimized for dialogue training. Another important technique is proper retriever training. As mentioned, Gorilla consults chat history and API documentation for real-time adaptation. Gorilla directly generates responses from prompts in non-firing mode during use or retrieves the most appropriate API documentation to inform its response retrieval mode. The AGT matching strategy is used to evaluate Gorilla API calls. By tracing the specific APIs called, errors can be identified. Gorilla relies on API documentation and recovery-based training for informed conversations, but this approach looks promising for further conversational AI development. As such, we can expect Gorilla agents to become the default solution for customer service, planning, research, and other high-value applications of natural language AI. Of course, we still have progress to make, but compared to the systems we know, Gorilla's human-like dialogue is a promising step towards achieving more useful and harmless AI. So, can Gorilla's approach lead to AGI? Gorilla brings us closer to creating AGI assistants that can dynamically access knowledge through API integration, learn and reason by talking to people, adapt quickly as the world changes, and accomplish tasks by orchestrating cloud services. While narrow AI can match human abilities in specific areas, Gorilla's broad conversational intelligence paves the way for general artificial intelligence. Mastering its APIs can make it interoperable with almost any human knowledge. Combined with advanced reasoning, this can create flexible systems that can spontaneously dialogue on any topic. Of course, we have more information to learn about reliability, transparency, and alignment before realizing systems work as well as humans do. But Gorilla represents exciting progress. Gorilla significantly advances conversational AI through deeper insights and faster response generation, conversational memory, reasoning, and evidence base, adaptability through hound-friendly training in new use cases unlocked through leveraging APIs. Preliminary results show that Gorilla surpasses previous chat agents and comes close to human conversational capabilities. While many open research questions remain, we are optimistic about future possibilities as models become smarter, more useful, and more aligned with human values. So there's no doubt about Gorilla LLM, the Llama model specifically tuned for API calls. It provides a better response than GPT-4 on all 3 collected datasets and is better suited to adapt to changes in API usage at runtime. Proper use of Gorilla can improve the performance of an LLM using various tools and plugins. So, what do you think of Gorilla and its progress towards beneficial AGI? Let me welcome insights in the comments. Consider subscribing for more cool AI content, and don't forget to hit that like button.